Hey Anonymai, welcome to another video. Tonight I am going to go through a roll of 1956 Philadelphia Wheaties. You can see there's a nice red one on the end. You can tell by the rims that this thing's been in a tube for quite a while. A lot of the times if it's stored in a paper wrapper, you'll notice the edges are more browned, even if the obverse and reverse are still red. In this case, you can tell it's been in one of these for a while. This style of case, in my opinion, looks kind of 80s, 90s. So it's probably been in here for 20 to 30 years like this. So it's had a good protected life. And what we're doing tonight is I'm going to go through these and see if I can establish some grades and kind of score this roll. 67 is really tough in this year in mint mark, so I'm not expecting any. 66 is a really nice grade. If you send it in for grading, you'll break even after grading costs and what you might sell it for. 65s, I do expect to see some 65s here, maybe a few 66s, probably a big chunk of 65s, and I bet 64 is probably going to be average condition. If I think it's less than 64, I'll probably not even chart it, just kind of set it off to the side. And then when I'm done, like I said, this is a very old tube. I'm ready to retire it. You can see some stress fractures glittering in this thing if you aim it the right way. And I'll just put it in a new tube. Not that this tube is magical or anything, it's just newer, fresher, younger plastic. Maybe buy another 30 years. So we'll go through these, score them, and I'll just do a wrap up at the end. If there's anything interesting, I'll let you know about it. So hit and pause. I'm going to go through these. When you go through red scents, wash your hands. We don't use gloves. Just get all the oils off your hands. Dawn works great. So disclaimer, I'm not being irresponsible. I think this is the best way to handle them. Barehanded, but clean. So we'll let you know in just a second how this turns out. And I forgot to mention, this is my basis for comparison. This is the grade that's most important for over-under. So I have a 54S in MS66 red. So aside from PCGS Coinfax, which is super helpful, this is my eye-to-eye comparison to know if I'm at least above or below. So anyway, I'm really going to start looking this time. Alright guys, it's been gone through, and we are ready for a bit of wrap-up. As you can see, the roll was in very nice shape. You can just see by the way the copper's glittering in the light here. But I didn't find any that I would even tease myself to think that maybe they were 67s. So there were no super gems that would carry those big premiums when you send them in for grading. There were other fun things in the roll that I wanted to show you though. Thought I'd show you my finest, and then a couple other fun things that were going on. So we'll start off with what I consider the 66, the best one in the roll. And I'm going to try to do some zooming here, so bear with me. This is what I thought might be one of the finest. There's a couple of nicks up on his forehead. You see a little bit of a contact mark. A couple of very light scuffs in the fields. The reverse is very nice, which is why I picked it as my finest, because I do have other ones that are 66s I think here, but the reverse on that one was outstanding and it kind of carried it above the rest. Here's another example of one that I think is a 66. And I can't tell what's going on with his forehead into his hair there. If it's a die crack, I can't tell if it's extra metal or if it's missing metal. If that is missing metal, I think it's more of a 65. But if it's extra metal, I'd leave it in the 66 pile. I would need a magnifying glass, I think. Here's a nice one. Same area, so maybe it's a die crack. Last one that I tagged is a 66, in my opinion. Same area again. So I'm thinking maybe it was a die crack carrying through to some more pennies. So those are some of the nicer ones. Something here, and give me your opinion on this if you're looking at this. The obverse is very nice. I would put this one at about a 65. On the reverse, down here in the field, there's a little dig. Tell me what you think that is. My guess is there was a bit of grease there or struck through something. Let's see how close I can get. At this point I'm getting into digital zoom, I'm not getting optical zoom. Tell me what you think. It's not a contact mark. It struck through something. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think it was struck through. Zoom out. A little bit back to normal here. Other fun things. You could just tell by the color that these were my enders. A little extra orange. A little bit of toning. One of them's got a crimper burn down here. They carried the same color. Those were my enders. Other side's pretty nice. They were like 64s. And you could see on average, this thing straddled the 64 and 65 grades. Alright, last thing here that I thought was very interesting, kind of saving one of the cooler things for last, but there was a developing die crack with some extra material going on. This is the least affected one, but it was in the nicest shape. You look at the left wheat stalk, you can see that extra chunk of metal up there. Definitely some kind of die crack or strike through. As we move on though, you can see that it turns into a die crack. So that's the softest one in the run. As we move down the line, these other three look pretty similar. The die crack extends up in to the rim. The big blob on that wheat stalk. What do you think of that? I'll show you another one just to prove it's not a scratch. Big blob of extra copper there from the hole in that die. And one more. Look at that. It's pretty intense. It's a big noticeable error to the naked eye. And these are in nice shape. I mean, that's a 65 probably. 64 on a bad day. That's a cool die chip. Die chip turns into a die crack. They develop together. It's kind of cool to have that little run of coins together. So anyway, that's what I look for when I'm going through these BU Wheatie rolls. Buy yourself a few. Go to a coin show. Buy some more cheap common ones. 50s, anywhere from 55 to 58 are pretty cheap. There's some common ones in there with the Philly mint marks. Just look for some cheap ones. Go through them. You never know what you might find. You might have a cool die crack developing. You might have some kind of strike through. Who knows? A very popular thing to look for on these Wheaties is repunched mint marks. If you're patient enough to look under magnifying glasses to look for the extra stamps on the mint marks as the mint workers redid those. So anyway, there's a lot of good treasures out there. Look around, find yourself a few rolls and go through them meticulously. Spend a half hour, spend an hour on it. It's kind of fun, it's cheap, and put it back in a tube, sock it away, maybe put a little note on the outside of the tube, and revisit it in 20 years with kids or something. Show your kids, get them interested in coin collecting. So anyway, hit that like button, subscribe, stick with us. We love repeat visitors, making friends. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you thought the coolest penny was in this tube. whether it's these die cracks or the strike through, or just the really pretty 66s, or the funny colored enders. Let us know down in the comments. So we'll see you guys next time. Happy hunting.